Yo to the yo, 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 yo. It's your boy, the insurance junkie, your fiduciary fella, the all-star advisor, Alonzo Hall. And I'm here this morning to whap and tap on your head with another ADH Wealth solution. Today, obviously, I'm showing you all, like before, prep time like Batman, because like Batman, when you have time to prepare for stuff, you're generally going to do well. Um, and what it is at least you'll be able to handle the situation. The outcome may not be your desired outcome, but at least with prep time, you will be prepared to deal with whatever may come along that way. So that's what I'm doing here, y'all. I have an appointment in about the next few minutes with a client. I believe it's actually at 9:30, but I like to prep a little early and obviously come on YouTube and share with y'all, some of the steps of a financial professional that we go through. So hold on really quick. So I'll be getting into that today. Like I said, with that prep time, like Batman. So, morning, babe. I'm getting dressed. I have an appointment. So, Saturday, Carmine's is at 7, and I just sent back the RSVP. So, we're set for Saturday. And this is the award ceremony, so I'll actually be winning my second award for the top annuity producer. So I told you I won 2021. Obviously, I won 2022. Not the best start so far for winning the award for 2023, I'll be honest. But, we got another 6 months to the year, so I can get at least another, I don't know, $1 million in before the end of the year. And that would definitely put us into position for doing my three-peat like the Lake Show. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I'm here online today. Let me go to my Gmail. I can turn that off. I can close that. We'll go here. And so when you're prepping as a financial professional, and this is any professional, whether it's your accountant, your attorney, they need to actually, well, attorneys have paralegals that'll set everything up for them. It's kind of like doctors, right? Doctors and lawyers don't really do anything. They just come in behind their paralegal or their nurse who does everything and knows everything. They just have the title that says that they can give the final authority. But they have gotten to a point where they really don't do anything unless they're like an ambulance chaser attorney. But your tax attorney, your tax accountant, your real estate agent, somebody who's working on your credit, your financial advisor, your insurance agent, I mean, even your car insurance agent, they need to be prepping, maybe I'll say 10 minutes to 30 minutes before a meeting. The reason I say between 10 and 30, it really depends. If it's a first meeting, it's kind of really hard to prep for it. So you really just need about 10 minutes or so. But if it's a second meeting where you're presenting or stuff like that, you usually want to take about 30 minutes ahead of time, even generally for the first meeting, just 30 minutes ahead of time. Get stuff set up. You might need to test your equipment or things like that. Make sure your equipment is running good. Hey, Toya, how's it going? um, and things of that nature. So today I'm actually meeting with a client who's a referral from another client, which tends to happen for me very often. I get referrals because that's kind of how it works. Um, but this is really what your professionals need to be doing. I know, it seems cool when, oh, the guy is just, he's always ready and rocking and rolling. Look, you're generally not always ready and rocking and rolling. You're generally in the preparation phase, right? So as a client, you generally won't see your professional in the prep phase, but they need to be in that prep phase if you really want to get taken care of properly, right? Let me just, what is this guy's name? All right. Let me check my calendar. 1 second, y'all. I'll be right back. I had to see what okay, that's from 9 to 9:30. I might have done him for 9:30. Let me see. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I didn't send him the invite. That's the smartest thing in the world, right? Oh boy. So I may have to resend that email to him. Let's search my, no, not my emails, my texts. Jeez, now I gotta go through my text and find this brother's number. And you know, this is actually a referral. Uh, so this is good news here. Um, we definitely like to hear and have this stuff. So I will get this prepped for the client. And I will see you guys shortly once I'm done. Um, all right, and we'll close that out. All right. And that's good there. So we're prepped for the meeting. So as you see, ladies and gents, I'll share this with you. I'm gonna hide the client's name, but as you can see, that's my computer screen, right? And my messy little desk here, but that's my computer screen. Uh, And as you see, I'm kind of a big deal, right? But that's my computer screen. And this is part of prepping for the client, right? You want to have your paperwork really ready for them so that when it's time to go, right? They're just ready to rock and roll. There's no hiccups or confusions. In fact, let me do this in case the gentleman did not get the invite. I thought I sent it, but I was ill at the time, so I may not have sent it. So bear with me 1 second, y'all. I want to make sure this gentleman gets his invite. Let me click this invite, copy the clipboard, send. Good morning. I should have sent this yesterday, but luckily this gentleman was understanding because when he caught me, I wasn't in the best health position. So, you know, such is life. So I believe, like I said, that the appointment is actually in another half hour, which is actually good because now I'm definitely over prepped and I have more prep time than Batman, right? So, one of the things I wanted to go over, I'm actually going to be this Friday doing an episode of Friday Night Financials. And we're going to talk about Boss, the Black business experience, right? Being in business as, a Black American, right? What that's like, kind of the ups and downs, the highs and lows, and what that experience is like, right? There's actually um, a well, I forgot what it was that I was saying because I keep getting notifications and stuff. So at any rate, there's a documentary called Boss the Black Business Experience. It's a PBS documentary. And it was speaking of let's see if I can actually on YouTube while we're at it find a little clip of it, because here's what's so funny, especially with Black America. And I was speaking to a gentleman yesterday who was saying some of the dumbest shit about Black folks and insurance. And the reality is we tend to not focus on that. So let's see. They have a preview. They have a trailer. Is this the whole? That's Roland Martin. Is this the whole movie? Let me see. This might be the whole film. I don't know if you guys can see this. So this is, yeah, this is, okay, no, they're just doing a stream about the movie.
That's also a neighborhood staple.
Okay, let me see if I can I'm trying to find the movie, Boss the Black Business Experience, because it explains some things. Let me see if I can find it on my Amazon account, because I know I had paid for the movie via my Amazon. Where do I find my Amazon Prime? Video purchases and rentals. What's going on? Here it is. So this is the movie, Boss the Black Business Experience. Right? I might get a copyright for this because they keep taking it off.
Deputized as special deputies.
Right? So this movie,
totally non-transparent to me. We were really, really poor.
no problem, Sheed. I'm glad you was able to pull through.
And she always struggled with money.
But there's a certain part of this. Let's see. And this is ironic because this has a lot to do with like what Rael was talking about.
Here was Cook saying, Look at all this money. They're putting their money in my bank, and whenever I need it, I'm gonna reach in and get it.
Henry Cook starts looting the bank. He just starts taking this money and lending it or giving
Oh,
it
wow.
to some friends and acquaintances, just putting the capital into railroad bonds, which was the subprime market of the day.
With the Freedmen's Bank on the verge of collapse, the
Any
federal
response to
government
this
turned to
text?
the best known African American leader in the country to
Frederick
salvage it.
Douglass.
Congress brought in Frederick Douglass to serve as the new president of the Freedmen's Bank.
And remember,
Initially,
Rael was doing a lot of talking about
$10,000 of his own
Booker T
money
as well.
as a way to shore up the bank, as well as to encourage other African Americans to continue to deposit their money into the bank. But the bank was beyond saving. So Douglass had to go to Congress and say that the bank was bankrupt and it needed to close.
The fact is, I was married to a corpse. I found that I had been placed there with the hope that by some drugs or some mighty magic, I would bring it back. But the life, which was the money, was gone.
The hard-earned savings of the freedmen were lost just in the markets, just poof.
Poof.
And nobody gets prosecuted. This was white-collar crime, actual just crime. It was theft, and nobody goes to prison for it.
Not even 10 additional years of slavery could have done so much to throttle the thrift of the freedmen as the mismanagement and bankruptcy of the series of savings banks chartered by the nation for their special aid.
W.E.B. Du Bois.
1865 to 1874, about 70,000 people deposited the equivalent of $1.3 billion in modern day numbers.
$1.3 billion in our own community. Just like Eugene Mitchell, we want to put $50 billion back into our own community. When I say this, I'm not being exclusionary, but I want my people to have this level playing field as everybody else.
Soon after the collapse of the bank, the federal government withdrew from the South, returning control of the region to former slave owners. The dream of full citizenship for African Americans came to a screeching halt.
We see the end of efforts to educate formerly enslaved people. We see the end of the protection of the right to vote. And what is allowed to happen is a series of legislative and extra-legal attempts to suppress African American freedom.
What I may do, y'all, is try and stream this live. There's a certain
African American citizens in Memphis, and this was part of the entrepreneurial spirit that was going on.
let's see.
In the country, agreed.
Booker T. Washington thinks it's
remember.
a wonderful idea, and it also complements
Hold on.
Prominent African Americans advocated the formation of W.E.B. Du Bois, argued that Black-owned businesses could play a key role in progress. Du Bois advocated the formation of a business league.
The National Negro Business League.
Booker T. Washington, the founder of Tuskegee Institute and the most prominent African American in the country, agreed.
Booker T. Washington thinks it's a wonderful idea, and it also complements his own thinking.
Yo, I love the way them dudes dressed back then. Yo, that was fly.
Americans for economic opportunity and promotion of business.
Booker T. Washington starts the national.
Like, don't get me wrong, street clothes are fly too. And 100 years from now, they'll love the way we dressed.
Across the country who meet for convention.
National Negro Business League. Hold on. Who talks about the NNBL all the time? Rael. So again, this is prep time like Batman, but this is also a charge for Black men. Right? And what is this charge for us as Black men? What we see here, very much like the masculine series that's on the Black Brain Trust. Shout out to Complex Design. Shout out to Mike V. Shout out to Rael. Shout out to Marty McFly. Shout out to Amiri Brown. These are men who are doing things. Shout out to Sheed We Here. These are shout out to K Business Podcast. We're all people who are doing things who are in line with this. Now, it may not be as large of a scale as of yet, right? But we're getting there. Shout out to, thank you, Toya. Right? But these are gentlemen who are, we're doing what needs to be done, right? You know, we do have these conversations about the Strag and the B-dubs all the time. And yeah, there's a lane for that. But you don't see these guys talking about none of that. And these guys may have had a reason to talk about that back then. These guys didn't worry about the supremacy putting a literal and virtual knee on their neck, which they've been doing for over the past 100 years. Just like the leader of the KKK, he's pro-white, not anti-anything else. So I'm pro-black, not anti-anything else. I just would like me and people to look like me to have an even playing field. You see, this is why there's no such thing, in my opinion, as white supremacy. Why? Because a true supremacist wants his opponent at their apex best or with an advantage over him. So when he dominates you while you hold the advantage, he still shows his superiority. Kind of like we generally do in every realm that we enter in this great blue earth. Right? Hockey, car racing, golf, the physical views, right? Art. You want to see drawing, mathematics, chemistry, sciences, finances, agriculture. Let's continue.
For each other that they can make it in this capitalist society.
Look at that.
By 1900, there were about 20,000 Black-owned businesses in the United States. They were anchors of Black communities in the North and the South, including Memphis, Tennessee.
Blacks were truly on their way to becoming first-class citizens and living a good life in Memphis. Thomas Moss is emblematic of that. He owned a store called the People's Grocery. It was a co-op, co-owned by at least 10 African-American citizens in Memphis. And this was part of the entrepreneurial spirit that was going on in the city.
The People's Grocery was considered a threat to the white community because there was already a grocery store in the area that was owned by a white person.
That owner was William Barrett. In March of 1892, having grown fearful and jealous of the People's Grocery's success, Barrett instigated a mob attack on his competition.
Men came in the middle of the night. There was gunfire. And as a result, there's lots of arrests.
So now let's wonder about things like, even in crime, the drug cartels, right? Let's look at one thing. There's a group now, YSL, who supposedly are caught in this RICO trafficking charge. However, Black organized crime has not been able to flourish because we don't have the connections overseas with the kingpins, the cartel leaders. So we don't have those distribution channels. Throughout history, there are maybe 4 or 5 Black individuals who were able to have their own small organizations who benefited from the illegal drug trade. Yet media would have you believe that It's blacks who are flying in all the cocaine, the drugs, and then ruining the inner cities by having all the drugs and guns. But how is that possible when we see here, if we didn't have distribution channels and the other big guys realize, man, they're getting really big. Let's go cause some havoc. Right? So now they go cause havoc. Bada bing. And everyone looks at us as the bad guy.
Including men at the People's Grocery.
Tommy Moss was dragged out of the jail and taken about a mile north. He was tortured and shot.
The killer's true motivation was exposed in a stinging column by local journalist and publisher Ida B. Wells, who was a close friend of Thomas Moss.
This is what opened my eyes to what lynching really was, an excuse to get rid of Negroes who were acquiring wealth and property, and thus keep the race terrorized.
A rash of lynchings was sweeping the country, 161 in 1892 alone.
I'm trying to skip to a very specific
1905. Supposedly with a capital of 25 cents and supposedly on his landlady's dining room table. He has a vision to build this newspaper into a
newspaper with 2/3 of readers.
In May, and it was exciting. And when you're sitting there in a small town in Mississippi or in Alabama, there's something attractive about that.
I'm looking for a specific statement that they say here. One of the things that they explained was that here's the couple of fields that started getting black folks rich right after slavery. One which we still dominate, which is the hair care industry, but we ain't rich off of that because we don't own any of the products, right? All we do is the actual labor. We don't own a single company that creates a fucking brush bristle. Forget the girls and their doggone weave. What about the fact that in order for me to brush in my 360 waves, I need a goddamn brush? There's no black company that fuck even makes the brushes, but doesn't even make the bristles that go into the brush. You see, this is what I'm talking about when I talk about we have to start thinking on a bigger scale. It's enough black barbershops, black clothing lines that are like this, that is a fucking Dickie shirt that I put my logo on. That's not a clothing line. You didn't design that, sir. There's enough Kill Your Mama Records LLC. There's enough Negroes in real estate that ain't doing real estate to the capacity that real estate needs to be done. They're just, I fix and flip houses. No, you don't. Right? So I'm sorry, I'm on my high horse, but this shit is over 100 years old. So hair, and ironically enough, number 2 that started making black millionaires, insurance. I wonder why we ain't in it.
Settled more than 100 all-black towns in the West, each with the goal of economic independence. Among the most well-known was a black district in Tulsa, Oklahoma, known by its residents as Greenwood.
Mm-hmm.
If we were to go back in time, let's see, 19.
Okay. Oh, this is just.
And walk up and down.
No, I don't want to see the cast. I'm looking for a.
One thing that would probably strike us is the absolute variety of businesses. The numbers are astonishing. 30 restaurants, 45 groceries and meat markets. There were dry goods stores, milliners, photography studio, dental offices. Greenwood is no longer called Greenwood. It's now known as
Black Wall Street.
This whole idea of self-containment really existed there. The dollar would stay in that community sometimes over
30 days.
Years before it ever went outside of the community.
So the dollar would stay in our community, okay? And I'm going to give you. I gotta look at context. Oh shit! I just closed the video, but hold on. Circulation of the dollar in America. So let's see. By race. Okay, so according to Google, right here, right, a Black Star Project study on the racial wealth gap calculates that a dollar circulates 6 hours in the Black community, 20 days in the Jewish community, and 30 days in the Asian community. Is there no reason or no surprise why today the top demographic in the United States of America is East Asian? Oh yeah, no, it ain't white men who on the top of the totem pole in America no more. Don't let media fool you. It's Asian men in America. So those Indians, because that's Asia, the country, the continent. India is the country, but Asia is the continent, right? And those people. But this documentary just said that the black dollar was circulating in our community for sometimes 5 fucking years. Did you hear that, ladies and gents?
Dollar would stay in that community sometimes over 3-5 years before it ever went outside of the community.
So the dollar would stay in that community for 3 to 5 years. 6 hours right now is how long the dollar stays. Our community can't get a full-time shift out of our fucking dollar. We can't get a full 8 hours out of our dollar. I'm tearing up. Because this ain't the fault of nobody but us, black men. We are the kings, right? Your master teacher, BGS, you're the prize. We'll make the prize worth something, right? Usually, right, if you're playing a sport, the prize is just a trophy, but it's worth something, right? It's this pewter gold shiny thing that's worth something to people. What are we worth when we can't keep our dollar in our community for an 8-hour shift, which is a full-time job? The next closest is the Hispanic community, and they keep theirs for, even if it's hours, it would be 14 hours, but it's actually more like, I think, 36 hours. So like 3 days, the dollar stays in the Hispanic community. So no disrespect to the Afro-Latino people, but that's why you say Afro-Latino. You separate the Latino because you have your own culture. So if we get Hispanic things, my black ass can't go there. Hispanic and black, we the same. Let me get it. Nah, you're a sangocho. Mira. Oh, shit. Well, then you can't have black shit. No disrespect, but you got your own. Let me get my own. You don't like it? Eat a dick. Dollar circulates for 6 hours in our community. 6 hours, y'all. What are we gonna do with 6 hours of a dollar? I'm sorry. I didn't even mean to get teared up, but that hits hard. When this man just said the dollar used to stay for 5 whole years. What is it, black man? Do we need to go back to 80? Do we need to get that fighting spirit? Cause all I all day, every day see is homies. I ain't scared to go to jail. I ain't scared of the ops. I'm down to die. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, really? Let's fight for our revolution. Oh, I can't go against the cops, man. You know, blah, 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 blah. You really down to die for this? See, like Tupac, cuz I'm down to die for everything I represent. I meant every word in my letter to the president. Some of you KNEE grows aren't. And it shows. And things like you're not willing to mentor another young brother. And I understand right now there's a lot we're all in scramble mode as black men in America. We're definitely in scramble mode. We're trying to make it. We worried because damn, this other black man might try to hurt me just because he's trying to feed his family. It's proximity crime, right? It ain't like we naturally have an aversion against each other. It's just so happens that we're all destitute, and proximity crime is what happens. That's black on black crime. Because you don't hear anybody saying Asian on Asian crime when we talk about the Yakuza or the Triad or the ABZ, right? What they call them, apples and roaches. Oh, you mean those Asian Crip sets in California that nobody talks about? You mean the fact that there are way more Mexican gangs across this country? The largest gangs in the world are Mexican. That gangbanger shit that I and other black men like to down black men about is really not us. It's Mexicans. Salute, Queena. You don't believe me? I want you to search a couple of gangs. La M, Mexican Mafia, Mana Salvatrucha, aka MS-13, 18th Street Gang, Nuestra Familia 14, just to name a few. Zetas. No, not the scary little Greek bitches. I'm talking about Zetas, the militaristic gang that works for the cartel in Sinaloa, Mexico. See, those gangs are really the issue. But we get the label. It's just like we get the label of being the bad guy when it comes to welfare. Right? Welfare queen, first thing you think is a black woman with 18 kids. The reality is a welfare queen is likely going to be a white or a Jewish woman. Why do I say that? Well, let's look at math. So the population of people who identify as black in America is between 42 and 45 million. The population of people who identify as white in America is about 200 million. The population of people who identify as white in America who are on public assistance is approximately 42 to 45 million people, which is 20% of the white population of America. But wait, approximately 42 to 45 million people would equate to 100% of the population of people who are black or identify as black in this fucking country. So how is it that 20% of their population, which is equivalent to 100% of our population, is on public assistance, yet with politics, you'll have people, oh man, you know, we can't give them any more of these handouts, these entitlements. They don't even understand what the entitlements are. It's crazy. Anyway, I'm going to get to this and then I got to get going because my appointment is should be here any minute. But let's just hear that one more time. Because this man said,
it's now known as Black Wall Street. This whole idea of self-containment really existed there. The dollar would stay in that community sometimes over 3-5 years before it ever went outside of the community.
3 to 5 years.
But in one city after another, white mobs erupted in violence.
Race wars, race wars, race wars, race wars.
And they come with guns. And this is a threat.
Any African-American men who resist, that these business owners suffered. This was capital in history.
Yeah. And this was
their descendants as well.
You have a savings account and that really troubled me.
Hold on. This is a black man who worked in finance and insurance.
His children and grandchildren would grow up with a strong spirit of economic independence.
My father felt it was really, really important for his son to have financial security. And so he had certain guidelines that he had set up. I was going to have a checking account. was going to have a savings account at a very early age, and he made sure that I went to an African American bank and an African American savings and loan.
John Rogers would go on to build Ariel Investments.
Oh, the only black financial firm. Well, Harlem Capital too.
Model so that other finance.
You guys know I talk about this company all the time. Guess what? For the past 20 years, you guys have been talking about Charles Schwab investing in the black community. Do you know what? It wasn't Charles Schwab. It was Ariel Investments who reached out to Charles Schwab and was like, yo, I need some traction globally, because the thing about money is I don't just want black dollars. I want everybody dollars. But initially, I do want black dollars, just like everybody else wants black dollars, right? Otherwise, there wouldn't be all this shit sold to black people. So he wants black dollars, but he wants everybody else's dollars too, so that he could spend his dollars that he got from everybody else getting the same shit that everybody else gets, right? Black people like flashy names, right? Don't get me wrong, I like my English shit. Don't nobody make. I happen to like the way Burberry patterns look, right? But I want to buy my English shit. I need some black dollars to do that. And guess what? These English folks, they gonna take my black dollar, but they won't give my black ass their English dollar. So that's what this gentleman decided to do, was turn that around. When he turned that around, he created Ariel Investments and partnered with Charles Schwab. So for the past 20 plus years, you guys have seen the African American outreach from Charles Schwab, which was actually from a black guy. But the difficulty is our own people, and this is probably why the dollar circulates for only 6 hours instead of 6 years, is because our own people will stray away. I don't want to mess with that black company. Founder and CEO of Ariel Investments. It started in a great year, 39 years ago, in 1984.
Build visibility around the 25th anniversary. Maybe it will inspire others to try to replicate what we've been able to do. It'll be and sort of put this idea together that if we were going to be prudent investors, we'd also be patient investors.
Prudent investors are patient investors. So this is something that, again, the black community definitely has an issue with, right? How do I know? Because our dollar only stays in our community for 6 hours. So it ain't like we've got a bunch of people investing. Because if you were investing, it should be in our community for at least 14 hours. Right? If you were investing, that would be passive income. So the dollar would actually stay in our community for at least 24 hours or 1 day. Just because it would be passive, you wouldn't be working your labor to have that money come in. So it would just be consistently coming in, growing, and not circulating outside of the community. So that's why everybody wants to do fix and flip. Everybody wants to hop on crypto and investments, because you think the stock market is going to get you rich tomorrow. Investors go for the long term. None of this, oh, I'm going to flip next week. Bullshit.
There was that old Aesop's fable where the tortoise beats the hare. And at the end, they always say the tagline was slow and steady wins the race. And it's like, gosh, I thought this is kind of exactly what we're all about. As I got going in my career, I kept finding that major corporations and also major nonprofits, they say they believe in diversity. They say they're committed to it. And what I found was that a lot of it was sort of empty rhetoric. And that really troubled me. So I found that I thought it was really important for me to challenge these institutions that say they care about diversity, but they're not really living those values day to day.
When people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. What did he say here?
So I found that I thought it was really important for me to challenge these institutions that say they care about diversity, but they're not really living those values day to day.
That's the daughter right
The
there.
Real Community Academy was started over 20 years ago. We built an extraordinary school.
Oh, and this
After we did
documentary
business
came
for a
out
couple of years
in like
and I sort of borrowed
2008.
the idea from my father, and I thought for the kids to learn about investing, they needed to be investing real dollars. So that's at the heart of the program, is to give the kids real money that they can invest in real stocks, and when they graduate, see the benefit of their own decision making and be able to take some of that cash home with them and help get them ready.
This is the current president and CEO. This woman right
I'm really
here.
excited that we've had.
That woman right there is the current president and CEO of Ariel Investments. Okay? So y'all, before I go though, because I do want to get ready for my client appointment. Sheed, we here for the grind, right? So not only is there that, there's some things I've been doing because I be having those digestive issues. So what I'm doing is every morning I alkalinize my system. Now they tell you that drinking things like ACV, I got to go get the raw mother ACV, but right now I just got the Stop and Shop version. So I take 2 to 3 capfuls of this, a squirt of lime or lemon juice, put it in a bottle, fill it with some water, shake it up, let it distill overnight. In the morning, every morning, I drink that. Let me tell you what that actually will help you with. It's damn near a parasite cleanse, right? This is going to get a little graphic, but when you drink that apple cider vinegar, maybe a little while ago, Yeki Awakening. Oh, I'm definitely going to check that out. It will help to cleanse your system, right? Now, actually, since we at it, hold on, I do gotta shout out to my Dominicans. My homie had gave me a bottle of Mama Juana, which is some good stuff. I also have, which for our health, this is something that is very good for your gut biome and your probiotics there. And it is brewer's yeast. Okay, so brewer's yeast, you can put this on or in just about anything. That watermelon cleanse, yes. And so this is a supplement, and literally all you need is 1 scoop, right? And it contains, a bunch of vitamins and minerals that you're gonna need in your body. Watermelon is a banging thing. So let me give you this, Sheed, because watermelon is one of the things that Marty McFly is on, right? So he put me on to this drink. The watermelons, pineapples, and apples, right? As well as cucumber. I do cucumber and watermelon all the time. I actually got to get a new juicer because I'm going to start doing cucumber and watermelon juice again, right? But he says when you get the grinds from your juicer, you take that and you if you need to put it in like a little bag, poke a couple holes in it, and then boil that water, or just the like the peels and everything. So you take the peels and you boil them, and then you can create like a drink mixture from that. But it has a lot of stuff inside of like apples called pectin. So that actually helps your digestive system. So slowly but surely, we about to win this race, right? Because health is wealth. And part of one of the reasons that probably as Black men we're so defeated is because of our eating habits, right? We kind of don't eat right. So it's kind of easy to defeat an enemy or an opponent when they're not at their apex best, or especially when they're diminished and like things like their thinking is diminished even harder, right? So now we can't even strategize and go to war, right? And I'm going to throw this back, and like even Sister Shahrazad Ali was explaining, listen, maybe this is where we as Black men want to lie the blame on our women's feet, but this would be the only thing in terms of our eating habits. You see, initially our women had to make do with what was given to us. So we had to have all the fried and the this and the that. And now that's become cultural soul food. It's not really soul food, it's garbage. It's the leftovers. But again, as superior as we are, we made the garbage delicacies. Do you know now things like chitterlings are being considered delicacies in places? They're paying top dollar in places overseas for chitterlings. Now, I wouldn't eat chitlins, but this is something that we had to make do with. The scraps, pork skin, pork rinds, making do with the scraps.
A number of former Arrow Community Academy graduates work here as summer interns, and now we have 2 full-time graduates who work here at the firm. Thank you. No problem.
John Rogers is the founder and owner of the largest Black-owned asset management company in the country. And by the way, one of the best performing of any race.
And I do think
one of the best performing asset management companies in the country, regardless of race, is Ariel Investments.
So that
which just happens to be a Black firm.
As an influencer of major corporations and the decision making they're making, even though he's not an executive of a major corporation, he's exercising a level of influence that it almost can't be measured.
Maybe we would do something very innovative. I was so fortunate here in Chicago to have great business success stories that I could try to follow in their footsteps.
Black business success stories grew with the creation of a new urban culture. In the early 20th century, one of those stories was about Black hair care products.
Women themselves wanted to transform. They wanted to take on.
They're trying to adopt a more modern identity for own businesses.
So she
be a little further ahead.
What she's able to build communities.
In 2016, all belong.
I came here to go to college, and back where there was significant civil unrest and strife. I came here to go.
Let's see. Well, you know what I'm gonna do, y'all? I'm gonna risk the copyright. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna stream this whole documentary. It's like an hour and change, right? But I'm gonna stream this whole documentary on my YouTube. Other than that, folks, I gotta get going. I have an appointment, so let me get back with y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. Wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. Wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. And remember, folks, when people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. Accept the challenge. Salute.